Good evening, everybody. My name is Ricco Holston, and I'm going to be bringing you another episode of The Background. Tonight, we're going to be joined by Jamila, and she runs with Black Girls Run, and we're going to hear about her story and how she got into running and why is it fun to her. So let's see if we can add her this time. And I hope y'all had a great day. Hope y'all had a great day. Here in South Carolina, it is a little bit cooler, but it's called false falls, what people call it. Okay, let me see. Hopefully, you type on the screen. Let me see. Hold on a second. Let me see if this should be a fun episode. Okay, I'm adding you now, Jamila. I don't know.
Hello. I think we got it to work finally.
You got it?
Yeah, now let's see if I can see your screen. I don't know if I can see you.
Okay,
So,
so we've had that problem more than once. I'll just let you know. You're
okay,
not the first
okay,
one.
okay,
But
okay.
I will say this. There, even though you can't see me and I can see you, like when I post it later, like you'll
Yes.
be able to see me and you looking at each other. So I know it looks kind of weird. It looks kind of
Okay,
weird.
okay,
But yes, but it's basically like me and you talk to each other like we normally would each other.
okay,
Like yes.
okay,
And
okay, cool, cool,
yeah,
cool,
so
cool,
you okay
cool.
with kind of doing it like this so I don't
Yeah,
eat
that's
too much of your
fine. That's
time.
fine. That's fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. So you see my picture and everything?
No, I
Okay,
don't
so
see you. This is a black screen.
this is a black screen.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a black screen, but
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay. But you'll see it basically like when I post a replay later, you'll see like
Yes,
it'll look normal. Like the way I'm looking at you is the way you're looking at me. It's just
yes.
like we're right there with each other pretty much.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. Okay. Well, hey y'all, thank y'all for joining me for another episode of The Background. My name is Rico, and I'm joined by Jamila. Jamila?
Yeah, Camilla's fine.
Okay, gotcha. And she runs with Black Girls Run, but we want to hear
Yeah.
about her personal run journey. And so I thank y'all for watching, and I appreciate everybody that hops on like throughout the weeks that I do this because this is good content for not only social media, but we're seeing a growing interest of people who want to join walk groups, run groups, and just overall just want to better their health and just get more active in what they're doing with their fitness journey. So I'm not going to hold too much longer without having her introduce herself. So if you want to go ahead and just start off with your name, like where you're from, and maybe how you grew up, what were you interested in, and
Yeah.
anything that what do you do for your job, anything you want people to
Mhm.
know about just whatever you want to start off with, that'll be good.
Okay, so yeah, my name is Jamila Williams. I am 46 years old. I am retired Army. So I was in the Army for 20 years. So I retired last year, April 2024. And so never was a big runner. Never was a big runner in high school, even when I joined the Army. I wasn't that strong of a runner. I think it was probably 8 years when I got into the Army that I started running. I ran my first half, 2013, I want to say, um, and then actually 2012, and then my first marathon was Rock and Roll San Diego, 2013. Um, And so kind of been running steady, but I did take a break during COVID. So I stopped running almost completely for almost 4 years. And so back till maybe a year and some change, I came to BGR. Um, yeah, I came to BGR maybe, let's say, last a year and some change. And that's when I really started picking up running more and more. Um, and so I'm still just trying to get back to maybe half of what I was before I stopped running. So it's just been a fun adventure so far. I don't know what else to say.
Okay, that's good. You got anything else you want to say before I ask you a couple questions? You good? You good? Or
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh, okay. So you're saying so? And how long did you serve in the army? By the way.
20 years.
All right. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I want to tell you thank you. Anytime somebody serves for our country, I'm always telling them thank you because my grandfather served in World War II.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, so I come from a family of those who serve in the military as well. So you mentioned so prior to joining the military, like when you were young, were you into sports at all, or any
Um,
type of athletics?
yeah, so I did track for I think maybe 1 year or so, and volleyball, but I wasn't what you would consider athletic. Not by
Mm,
any standard of me. Not
mm.
not at all. I wouldn't consider myself athletic at all. No, no. So it kind of was a surprise to end up joining the army, especially during the time of war, And so yeah, that was definitely, yeah, yeah, when I look back at, and then definitely not the athletic type at all. So yeah, I don't know.
And what was your what was your job in the army? What was your career?
So I did logistics and then I did operations research and systems analyst work. So a lot of trends, a lot of data stuff and data collection and all that fun stuff.
Wow. Were you deployed?
Twice I had two deployments
Mhm.
during that time to Iraq. And then been overseas a lot. I think I spent more time overseas in my career than stateside.
Right. Wow. Well, then again,
Yeah.
thank you for your service. That's
Thank
a blessing
you.
that you're here with us and be able to share
Yeah.
that. Because many can't
Yes.
do that. So,
20 years went by fast.
yeah, I know, especially because you loved it, right? You enjoyed it.
A lot of teachable moments. So, and I
Right.
learned from it. So I think that's life, it helped me become more resilient. And I think that's why that's really impacted my running journey as well, too, where I'm not so quite intimidated by some races. I like to aim for harder races sometimes, some races that are going to push me past my limits. It helps me grow my resilience even stronger, if that makes sense. Resilience and determination, a lot of stuff I learned from the military.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And what is the best part about your fitness journey so far, and why?
Yeah, I like to say it keeps me younger in many ways. As I get older, I think my fitness journey keeps me younger and healthier. I would say, too, because I know that a lot of, I would say, diseases and stuff, high blood pressure, diabetes, all that stuff plays our community and members of my family. So I think that's a big part of my running journey that's helped me kind of stay healthy. And I always like going to the doctors and they're like impressed by my blood pressure or something. And they're like, wow, it's better than mine. I'm like, yeah, you know, that's all part of my running journey. But overall, I like how um, running, it makes me more resilient, if that makes sense. It makes me a stronger person, being able to I can handle anything because I just ran this hard race or, yeah.
And do you
I
balance
could
it out
talk
with?
forever.
No, that's no, that's great.
I
You
can
actually
talk
brought
forever and I start rambling on, so I apologize.
no apology. No, you good. I asked that I was gonna bring up another question of mine is I know for me as a black man, as blacks, like, especially growing up, we did not really believe in going to the doctor like that. It's only in the
Mm-hmm.
last couple of years
Mm-hmm.
that I have gone,
Mm-hmm.
not recently, but times that I have gone. So do
Mm-hmm.
you have annual checkups that you have,
Oh yeah.
honestly, even with running, share that with us
Mm.
as far as like,
Oh
how
yeah.
important it is to do that too.
Oh yes. I mean, because the army, I'm not gonna even lie, the army tore up my knees, my back. The army put 20 years, of rucking 30, 35 pounds. It plays a part for mentally, I mean, and physically, but physically wise, my knees are shot, and so, my back especially can sometimes act up and sometimes irritate. So I do go to physical therapy, and I do, massages or what I have, different types of treatment so that I can go back out there and run and
Yeah.
continue to run.
And I was going to ask you, so with even with your fitness journey, how
Yeah.
did you find out about Black Girls Running?
Man, so I would say probably when I was in Oklahoma, I first started going to I went to a race, I want to say. I knew a lot of the girls in Black Girls Run San Antonio. And so I think I found them through another race. So this is back in the days too. So I think this is back 2013, I want to say, when I first started running journey.
Okay.
And I would go to some of the big races and then I saw them and they were so welcoming and so friendly. But yeah, it was definitely with the Black Girls Run San Antonio chapter, um, that I kind of met many of the members from there, and then we was run some of the same races when I was stationed there in Oklahoma and Texas. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, and then I got here, and then I was like, okay, let me continue with the Black Girls Run, and I saw them again at races too. So it's like, yeah, just continue on with the trend.
Yeah. And shout out to Ben Thomas, Jermaine Lynette, and Dara Brown, I believe. Those are the three
Yeah.
leaders of here in Columbia. And so what do you love about the group here in Columbia? Is there anything unique that stands out for you that
Oh,
keeps you
it's
coming back for
yeah.
a group run every single week?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's just keep you motivated, keep you, I think a lot of us, we first met. Well, I know especially I started running with them because we were all running the Every Women's Marathon in November. I think 30 of us ran that. And
Hmm.
so it's convenient because, we would link up to run the longer runs, especially, 15, 16, 20 miles. Mostly I run solo, but it was great to run with them as a group. It was a very encouraging group. And again, we're all training for the marathon. So it's perfect. And it's just like now, many of us have marathons coming up this fall. So we're all like on the same or similar training paths. We all have to get in long runs. And it just helps having a group run with you so that I'm not running always by myself.
And are you a person that's interested in just running? Do you go to the gym? Do you have other workout routines?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So mostly just running. Everything else I do, like work out with my kettlebells and everything else like that here at the house. So I don't necessarily I go to Orange Theory, so I'm a big Orange Theory nut. But when I go to Orange Theory, I'm always on the treadmill. So, but I do my weights here at the house. Yeah, I have a specific kind of weights that won't aggravate my knees or won't aggravate my back. So I tend to prefer to do them at the house.
Yeah, and it's good because because I like like I'm a at home guy when it comes to like I love doing push-ups. I'm a big push-up
Yes,
guy. I'm the
yes.
kind of person even kind of coming up even through college. And I would do some bench pressing, but what I always ask myself is like if I can't lift my body weight, why am I trying to lift the heaviest thing in the gym? So I just felt very much comfortable doing push-ups. And I went from doing
Yes.
maybe like 20 to 30, 40 to the point where I'm like, hey, I want to like do 100 every day. So today I did 100, and
Nice,
try,
nice,
try
nice.
to break them up, a little bit, so yes,
Yes,
so it's nothing like, being able to have like a routine at home. So that's good that you
yes,
do have one,
yes,
because
yes,
some people have to go to the
yes.
gym every single day. Do you go to the gym every single day?
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. Yeah, I go to, it depends. Sometimes when I don't push myself as
Uh-huh.
hard as I should.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I know I was like, let me go ahead and go to, I go to, Orange 3. That's pretty much the only gym I go to, because
Okay.
I know that the coaches, they're going to push me.
Yeah. Right, right,
They're
right.
going to push me. And then there's a, kind of set regimen. There's like, okay, for these 5 minutes, we want you to run at an incline of 5% and increase the incline each minute. That's kind of stuff I know at home I'm not going to do. I'm just, you know, I'm
Right.
I'm going to take it a lot easier at home. That's the thing when, especially because it's so hot, of course I prefer to run outside. There's
Right.
nothing beats running outside. But when it's so hot and it's in the evenings, um,
Mhm.
I will stick to the treadmill. But I like when it's kind of there in front of me and it's kind of almost forced to do a workout, forced to do an incline or hill workout. So I do like, being in that kind of environment where they will push you. So I could see, having that, maybe, thought about maybe having a private um, workout person or instructor to kind of help me out in some areas that I want to focus on.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So it's like maybe like a couple days a week you go to the gym, or
Yeah,
is it?
maybe a couple days a week. I have to figure out that and run schedule to
Okay.
where, because I do want to get back in the pool. So that's one of my other focuses I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what exactly I need an instructor for. If it's, do I want to focus more on my swimming or I just want to focus more on, lifting weights. But I think one of my main focuses, especially for next year, is going to be, swimming. So
Okay.
becoming a stronger swimmer.
Okay.
So that's where I'll be looking into, like, getting private lessons and working with a coach in that aspect,
Yeah. So
which should help
and
out everything. I think swimming is going to help out the weights and all that other stuff too, just by getting more in the pool.
And you actually, what I learned, like especially like being in college, when I was on the track team, we would do pool workouts. My coach
Yeah.
would remind me, or even like some of my teammates would, remind me that you burn more calories actually in the pool than you
Yes.
do,
Yes.
running. Like, so do you find that very beneficial for you being in the pool every now and
Yes.
then?
And it helps breathing aspects too. Sometimes I see my breathing, if I'm running, my breathing is off.
Yeah.
So I think swimming is going to help in that aspect too. And I think it's going to take my running to another level.
Hmm.
Of course, it's going to help me get to my ultimate goal one day of Ironman. But I'm taking that slow. I'm taking
Wow.
that slow. Yeah, I'm taking that very slow. That's not a immediate 50-meter goal. But
Okay.
I think by getting in the water, I think it's going to help my running out tremendously.
Okay. And thank you all for sticking with me for the background for those who are just joining us. So, and to kind of like go back for people who are just joining us, like what was your first ever road race and how did you do?
Yeah, so I did the Dallas first half was the Dallas, I forgot what they call it, Metro or something in December, in mid-December. So that was 2012. Maybe I'm getting my dates wrong. I should know this. But that was my first half. But my first marathon was Rock and Roll San Diego, 2013. That was my first marathon.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so yeah.
so your first race was a half, it wasn't a 5, 10,
Well, yeah,
or
I did do some 5Ks. So I did do, let me back up. I did do a couple of 5Ks. I did the fun 5Ks. I call them fun 5Ks, the glow runs,
hmm
the breast cancer runs, the cancer runs, the kind
hmm
of runs that they have a lot of people. And well, I mean, that can be any run, but I was gravitated towards the kind of fun runs, the color runs where you get sprayed with color and you're running and all that fun stuff and the glow runs where it's at night and you get all these. So I was doing those. I started off doing those.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, yeah, yeah,
So that's great. And speaking of which, I think Charlotte does like a New Year's Eve run. It's like a glow in the
yeah.
dark. They do a guy that I ran with at the it was a Santa run back in 2023. It was the first race I ran here in Columbia, and he was telling me that he was training for a New Year's Eve run. I was like, oh, well, are they gonna do it like at night? Like, yep, they're gonna do it like at 11 o'clock at night. So they have like their
I like
glow
that.
sticks and their glow hats, blinking and stuff and all that. So, it seems kind of fun. Haven't ran in the dark yet, but I think I've seen the one you're talking about that you just mentioned. So it's like, is it glow in the dark? type of
Yeah,
race. No, yeah,
yeah. They
yeah.
have a lot, and it's just they're so much fun, because they got all the lights and all the glow in the dark stuff, and
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, those type of races. I still do like running those because it makes
Yeah.
me you never forget why you started running. Sometimes I need a reminder when I get tired of running. Sometimes, let me go back
Yeah,
to the fun stuff. Let
I
me go back
know.
to the fun races,
You're right, and those are fun races. And
somewhere where I'm not worried about time,
mhm,
and there many of them are untimed. And that's how I started running. It was the untimed stuff that
yeah,
I was just kind of out there. I didn't have to worry about any time. And I just was out there with a whole bunch of people and
right,
music out there and
right.
all that other. Yeah.
That's what's up. And do you prefer working out in the morning, afternoon, evening, late at night? I mean, what do you prefer?
Both. I need both. So, to be honest with you, I need both. I like to work out before work, and many times I call a workout walking with my dog. Walking a mile and a half with my dog.
Okay.
Um, Many times before work, and then after work, I need it too to kind of unwind. So I feel like my days are complete when I can get two different workouts in. And sometimes the workout at home would be, just doing some weight stuff. Or sometimes in the morning it's just doing some weight stuff. So they're not very hardcore workouts. Some days they are.
Hmm.
If I need training miles, then I'll run, in the morning and then I'll run again in the evening. It just kind of depends. But I honestly like both.
Okay. And when do you usually meet with the BGR crew? What days? Do y'all have like a calendar?
Yeah. So normally they meet Mondays, Wednesday, Fridays. So I try my best to get out there with them. Sometimes I have to adjust it based on work. Sometimes I have to get to work.
Hmm.
So if not anything, times where I have a little bit more freedom, work wise, if they meet earlier, especially when they meet earlier at 5, that's good for me. So that I can come back and get ready for work.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you usually go to work what time? Like, it works out, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So definitely, to get to work by 7:30, then, kind of running with them and then being able to shower, change. And then luckily my job is not too far away, so it makes things convenient.
Okay, that's what's up. And what is your
Mhm.
favorite distance and your favorite race and why?
Oh man, distance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like a good 10 miler, sometimes halves. It all depends. Um, at one time when I was running consistently before I stopped, it was the marathon. That was my favorite distance at one time. I'm trying to get back to that level. Um, but I like a good 10 miler
Yeah.
because I'm not a big advocate for 5Ks. They're too fast for me. And they're too hard. So I like when I can gradually ease into a run, like run the first mile nice and easy. I don't like sprinting the whole time. I hate that because I'm not a big sprinter. So
It's
if I can gradually ease and nice and easy, that's why I like 10 miles. 10Ks too are nice.
yeah.
But I like when I can just gradually ease into the race. And that's why I used to love marathons. I think because, they always say life is not a sprint, it's a marathon, because you
Mhm.
just kind of gradually,
Wow.
you're going through every 5K, going through different phases or 5 miles, however, you split the marathon up. So yes, that used to be my favorite race, but now I'm getting back to the point where I can enjoy a marathon.
So it's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to CJ Langley. He's a leader in Charlotte for Black Men Run, and basically
Okay.
he told me that he really doesn't like the five, or he was mentioning how I guess the 5Ks are the least interesting one for him
Yes.
because he was saying, like you were mentioning, it's a sprint, and
Yes.
when you really think about it, it actually is a sprint because
Yes.
I literally like ran my first one ever in I believe in 2021, right?
Okay.
And it was in Chattanooga where I was working at the time, and I I, I came out running at I think 26 minutes, I believe, but
Yes.
it was my first one. So when I returned to I say return when I ended up going from the start back to the finish line, I kind of felt like, I was tired, but at the same time, it was kind of like, oh, well, I felt like I kind of like, reserved myself just to make sure I could finish because it was my first one. I didn't want to go too hard. I didn't want to go
Yes,
too slow. I wanted to give my best, but I was kind of like, oh, maybe I can give it a little more. And then I found, as, from, 2020, one up into, or maybe 2022 up into 2025, my times have gotten lower, but then I
yes,
realized I was a lot more tired too because it was a pace that I wanted to keep the
yes,
entire time from the start to the finish, if I could keep it,
yes,
So I get
yes,
it, but and I've heard that before. I'm like, it's the shortest distance, so I would think that people would love that, but it's really a lot harder on your body if you're really trying to be
yes,
competitive with yourself and with other
yes,
people. But it's fun.
yes,
But yeah, I've seen a lot more interest in people wanting to do more distance stuff. And for those
yes.
who
Oh, yes,
are,
so much better. Ultra is, especially ultras, when you start getting into longer, distances further than marathons, it's a completely different ball game. Like, to be honest, I did a 1 mile race maybe a few years ago, and I threw up afterwards. I was like, this is the worst because I was just a sprint, and it was just the worst feeling.
yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, I did that too hard. I did that. Let me go back. Let me never again do a 1 mile race. To
Wow.
where I'm going at. But it's a different ball game when you start, especially talking about ultras, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, yeah, it's
Well,
fun. So that's what I'm trying to get back to.
well, it's interesting that we talk about it because someone that's new or someone that's I meet people all the time that they may run a little bit or they may start get into shape somehow, and they'll say oh, I don't believe I can do that, like wow, like that's crazy or whatever. But
Mhm.
they'll hear someone say, well, like you were saying, you enjoy the longer distances
Mhm.
more, and someone else that
Mhm.
hears that's like, I'll probably be glad just to be done with it, and I won't ever do it again. But it's like that. Do you have that runner's high? Do you have like that? Oh, I got to do this again. Because at first I was like, I guess I do have it, depending on certain distances. But
Yeah,
after
yeah.
completing my first marathon in April, I was kind of like, you know,
You don't want to run
I,
any longer.
yeah, it's like I felt like I found my limits, but at the same time, it's like, could I do it again? So, like, do you have
Yeah,
like that runner's high all the time?
it is. It depends. It depends. Different races have made me feel different ways, right?
Yeah.
So some have made me cry. I've gotten emotional at the end of finish lines because I think it's one of those things. If I'm put in, that's why I like sometimes I gravitate towards the harder races, right? Because I feel like it puts me in a place like that. And then one thing too, I don't listen to music. So I'm kind of in tune with a lot of things, especially like trails. If I'm on a trail, and I've done some difficult trails, and most of the time I'll be out there, it seems like by myself, you know, um, and it puts me at a place emotionally. I know sometimes it's hard to describe unless you're, out there on the trails a lot. And sometimes I feel like I'm within nature sometimes. Um, so finishing some difficult races, and they may be technical trails. You're talking about branches, rocks, and it's putting me through something mentally. Physically, yeah, I can do it. I'm going to be at one of the last finishers, but I'm going to finish it. But it kind of puts me through a lot of things to where I'm emotional, because I conquered something hard. And I like that feeling of finishing those type of races. I like that. Of course, I like the nice and fun, easy, quote unquote, I call them the easier races too, to where I can run them fast. And I'm like, oh, that's fast. I got a PR, I'm fast and blah, blah, blah. But there's something about me running something so it's difficult, and I might be last place. I might be second to last. But the fact that I finished it and it brought me through something, you know, um, but yeah, sometimes it's hard to describe unless um, actually you do something that's very challenging.
Well, that makes
Something where it's your weakness, and my weakness are trails, you
mhm.
know. And so when I finish a tough one, it's uh it's emotional for me. So I tend to break down sometimes, privately, privately.
Yeah.
I tend to break down. I'm like, I can't believe I did that. I'm never going to do that again. And then what do? I sign up for another one. So I've said that
That
a lot. I say, I'm never going to do it again. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to put myself through that again. And then I end up doing it again. And
but
then it's, to the point where sometimes, yeah, you'll be ready to be done. Yeah, like it's 13 miles. I'm out here for 4 hours already. You mean to tell me I got, 4 more miles to go and it's already been this long?
that,
Yeah.
that that's so good that you mentioned. This is why I enjoy the running community because you have so many different perspectives about it. It's like like a I don't even think it's even a love hate thing with running. I think it's more
No.
so a love. Okay, I'm discouraged right now, but I need
Yes.
some encouragement. Again. So I guess I'll do it again. I wouldn't consider it to be
Yes.
like a love hate relationship with runners. It's more
No.
like a
No.
love and let's figure out. Is what can I do next? That's gonna help me,
Yes.
stick with it and enjoy it even more. Yeah, it,
Yes.
it sounds weird to
Yes.
describe it like that, but I found people that
Yes.
enjoy doing it, and so
Yes.
this is what a runner sounds like, y'all. Like, that's why I want to have everybody that's on here, every week, sharing their journey about it, because it's for
Yes.
everybody. It's literally
It
for
is.
everybody. It's not one person that can't, and it's not about running. I just
Exactly.
want to be honest. Not just about running. It's walking. It's all about
Exactly.
being good with your is being disciplined with with fitness, period.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. And it transfers over to my work, my
right,
job.
right.
It makes me more resilient and strong. I can handle this because I just did this hard race, or, I just did this hard training, and, I just did this hard event. So it definitely makes you more resilient. That's one thing that I love about, running. It makes me definitely a stronger, more determined person to know
Yeah.
I can handle stuff in life, you
Mm.
know. And it's a good outlet. It's a definitely a good outlet. You get time to be selfish. They call it, our coach always, Orange Theory, they always say, you get 1 hour. This is your 1 hour to be selfish and make it all about you and your goals.
Mm.
So yeah, I like that.
Wow. So as a black woman, how did it
Yeah.
feel seeing, other black women, in these run groups? We're seeing more of them now. And I know for
Yes.
me coming up,
Yes.
I didn't notice anything about black men run, black girls run. I
Yeah.
know for sure like, your normal sport, sports like football, basketball,
Yes.
baseball, all that kind of stuff. And there are people in my schools that only would run if, there was a ball involved, but but when it came to distance running, I didn't
Yeah.
really see a lot of people interested in
No.
like distance running, but
No.
now it's like it seems like
No.
we have a growing interest in being a part
Yes.
of just, putting
Yes.
in some miles in every week. So for you,
Yes.
were you seeing a lot of that coming up, through your
No.
career in the army and what are you seeing now as far as like us, like, comparing us
No.
to, to white people,
Yes.
that's our
Yes.
second.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You are so right. The same thing. I totally, and black women on trails, especially, what? When I was first started running, now, I go to trail races and there are a few of us out there, and so I think too, more and more black women, especially at marathons too. Um, some it varies on stuff that I've done that I won't be you won't see any other black women out there. But I am starting to see a lot more of us interested in the longer distances, and interested in getting out there. So it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
and and
It's
and
awesome. It's so encouraging.
it is encouraging, and that's why I ask, because people can easily stereotype someone saying because
Yes.
they're a certain
Yes.
color they're not interested in certain things. Like for me,
Yes.
I'm a huge NASCAR fan, right? And
Okay.
there wasn't even blacks watching
No, not
NASCAR
to me.
except for like Wendell Scott, who was way before my time. He was the first African American to drive in NASCAR, but now it's all about Bubba Wallace. He's in the Cup Series. And then there's a guy named Raja Carew. He's in the truck series. He's coming up as a superstar. And then now there's other blacks that are interested in IndyCar and drag race and all
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So I bring that up to say, just because, we're black doesn't mean we have found interest in doing something like this. And it's for our well-being, right? So,
Yes.
so we don't want to be too quick to say that, somebody may not be interested in something because of the color of their skin. So with that said, is my next question for you is like, do you also have like a strict diet? Are you a meal prep person, or do you kind of just do have like a little bit of of a sweet tooth sometimes,
Yes,
or like how do you incorporate like a diet in what you do, and and how
yes,
serious is it for you, or
yes.
is it not really that big a deal?
Oh, it's serious, but I do have my cheat days. I love sweets. I love cupcakes. I love French fries. I love it all. And so I don't restrict myself from things. I will very serious, and I tell myself, okay, Jamila, you got to get back on Weight Watchers. So it kind of monitors. As long as I eat the foods, I don't overeat. So that's why I like to track many times. And I was like, okay, let me make sure, okay, I can eat this, but I can't go crazy. I can eat this candy bar, but I can only have these pieces a day. So I try to monitor, especially when I try to get ready for a race, to where I know, okay, I got this A race coming up. I got this marathon coming on. I don't want to feel sluggish, especially the couple of weeks before a race. I don't want to feel sluggish. I don't want my stomach to act up during the race. And it happens because I said just recently, having a milkshake, having a milkshake the day before a race, and I paid for it. So I try to monitor, especially when I have races coming up, when I'm eating. And drinking, try to hold down my sweet tooth, but it's there. So I don't restrict myself. That's the last thing I want to do. Restrict myself completely from eating and enjoying certain things.
And what type of weather do you enjoy running
Cold,
and working out the most in?
cold,
Oh, wow.
cold, cold.
Wow.
Like I want, I like cold races to where, it takes a mile and a half to warm up my feet. You know? Like I don't like waiting in the cold. I don't like waiting. If I'm just standing there, that's no fun. But if I'm running in it, I love it. I love cold. Give me about
Man,
35 to 40 degrees and I'm perfect the whole time.
my fingers
I
hurting
don't do
right now.
humidity. I don't do hot. I don't do hot. I don't like hot. If it's over 65, I'm too hot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it makes sense to have, especially like when it comes to, because I mean there are marathons all year long, right? But it makes sense
Yes.
to for those who train throughout the year to do one in the cooler and in the winter, just because personally, I mean, you're not gonna catch me trying to push myself for a 13.1 or 26.2 mile in the summer. I'm not gonna do
Oh,
it.
it's hot. No.
You know. But some
Not
people
a
will.
PR. No.
Yeah, some people will though,
Yeah, some
but
people will.
yeah.
And it works for, I've done, races during hot and hilly, it's just hot, hilly, and humid. I think, again, it's one of those resilient moments. And I know on purpose, like I love Peachtree. I love Peachtree, but I know every year that race is going to be hot. But every year that's going to be my yearly race.
Yeah.
So I'm back out there, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try my best to get a color every year. I'm going to try my best to beat my time. That's always my goal, beat my time. Every year I want to beat my time. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go out there and push it, and I know it's going to be hot. It's always a hot.
Right.
That's just one hot race. But it's just all part of the fun, I think. But no, give me cold weather any day.
Wow.
Give me
Yeah.
cold. I have to be cold when I'm running.
I gotta have fall and spring is cool. Back in
Okay.
April, I ran this marathon called the Too Slow for Boston in Greer, South
Yes. Oh,
Carolina.
you ran some stuff for Boston.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
know. I love the race director.
Yeah. What's Lord have mercy. Now I forgot her name. What's her name?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, I know. I had to.
I had to look back
Yeah,
now.
I ran their other race that's coming up actually this weekend, I think.
The like a ultra
Yeah,
911.
yes, I did that last year. I did that
Okay.
last year for training. Yeah,
So you doing that this
yeah.
year again?
No, I'm out of town, unfortunately, this weekend. So,
Okay.
but I would because I like it, and they're so friendly, and it's always so friendly. You do that loops, and loops are
Yes.
another of my weakness.
Yes.
Weaknesses.
Yes. And
Loops are.
I did the marathon back in April, and I didn't think I could do it, but I did. But the weather was
Yes.
perfect. It was like between 60 and 70, and I was like, if I
Okay.
was gonna do one
Okay.
every year, it would have to be around
Yes.
this temperature every year. Like, but
Yes.
that's me. That's just my preference. but everybody has a
Yes,
different season. So you can tough
they
it out in
do.
the winter. I'm like, whoa. I might be the one that's like, okay, I might do one in the winter time, and okay, yeah, maybe not in winter ever again. But that's good to know because everybody's different when it comes to their likings and
Yes,
dislikings. And
yes.
and what's a good rest day look like for you? What are your hobbies and how important
Okay.
is mental health for you?
Oh, it's big. So rest day is normally walking Zoe, my dog. So I consider that a rest day. Yeah, just taking her for a walk, walking around. Or my rest days is kind of different depending on, or and then I have active recovery days. But rest days normally involve just kind of walking Zoe around the block and taking her for walks. Something easy. I consider them like my zone two. I do a lot of heart rate stuff, a lot of heart rate training.
Hmm.
So for, rest days, I'm like, I can't go higher than a zone two. Um,
Okay,
so yeah.
gotcha. And so, oh, you can't go higher than the zone two. You said.
Yeah, yeah, for rest days. For rest days, zone one and zone two. I try to monitor my heart rate a lot,
Okay.
to know to kind of stick within a certain heart rates. I don't want to be up in zone four and five, a lot. I want to kind of save those for race days.
Okay.
Um, and so I just kind of make sure that I keep my heart rate low on certain days of the week. So I do a lot of zone two, zone three training. And it helps with endurance. So I
Yeah.
don't burn myself out. Because
Yeah.
putting in all these miles a week, and it gets, I'm just trying to make sure I definitely don't burn myself out. And then racing a lot.
Yeah. Right.
It happens. It happens, and I don't want to hate, quote unquote, hate running.
Yeah.
So keeping my heart rate low. Even if I go to Orange Theory, sometimes the temptation is to kind of go faster.
Yeah.
Certain days, go faster. It's like, okay, yeah, you're going to sprint for this minute. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to kind of stay with my heart rate at a certain level. Um, just because, I got, 20-mile run coming up this weekend or what have you. So it's just kind of important that I do take seriously my quote unquote rest days or my active recovery days.
I'm very proud of you. That's really good. And your recent trip to you went to Mexico, right? Mexico City.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
So now we gotta talk
yes.
about this. How did that go? Did it go as well as you wanted it to go?
Uh, how about the elevation? So, that's Mexico City is at 7,500 feet. Um, and so the elevation took a harder toll on me than I thought it would. Um, and the heat and humidity too, kind of like I knew I was kind of monitoring the weather. So I already knew it was going to be kind of too hot for what I like, and for what I'm comfortable with. So it was just crazy, crazy, crazy getting there, just to the start line as somebody who I don't speak much Spanish at all. And so, it's just, it was a lot logistics wise, just getting to the start. So I'm already, sweating before the marathon even started. I'm already sweating, I thank God I got to the finish line okay. But let's say I felt that elevation.
Mm,
But I mean, you talk about a race that just is, I mean, the whole city. I mean, it was just, it's 30,000 of us, I think. I think they said about 30,000 because it
wow.
was sold out. 30,000 of us running. And I mean, that whole city came out to support. I took so many videos of the vans. Um, I got a lot of, support and cheers from other runners. And it was just like a supportive, like totally supportive race. Like the communities, you had so many people passing out, some of the water points, I guess we got to them, like were already gone, but they had so many people passing out water, Coke, yeah, Coke, popsicles, fruit. I was like, wow, okay, thank God.
Wow.
Thank goodness for those great supportive people along the way that kind of, make sure us runners stay hydrated, because there were a couple of people, unfortunately. I saw some bad falls. So, and I saw a lot of people on the sidelines, and thank God, I think there was medical support every 5K.
Mm,
Um, and so I was like, wow, this is the most medical support I've seen during a race, you know. I guess that size in a long time. I mean, there was like, I was like, oh, wow. So, unfortunately, there were some runners I think that, probably had a lot more difficulty with like the heat and stuff.
Hmm.
But there were a lot of people out there to give us ice. I got so many packs of ice from people, so many packs of water from people and everything. So that helped, the process go by so much better.
So what was your time? What did you end up finishing in?
Five something, slower than I wanted to.
Okay, okay.
So one of my slowest marathons. But I think it was such. I wasn't to say I wasn't going specifically for time because I knew it'd be challenging, right? So I can't compare it to an easier marathon that I run at, sea level,
Hmm.
um, and it's flat. I can't compare it to like a flat sea level marathon in cold weather. So I didn't have so much an expectation of time, more expectation of finishing something that I know would be so difficult.
Yeah.
So that was more so my goal because I
Okay.
was like, I know this is not going to be a PR race at all. I
Oh,
already knew that.
would you do
But
it?
it's just, hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. You
Oh,
good?
go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you, would you do it again? Would you do the race again?
Hmm. Would I?
I take that as a
I have
possible.
too many other races on my list that hmm, I have so many races on my list, and I think it's not just the yeah. I think the whole like the planning. I mean, of course, it wasn't too far, um, but I don't know. I think because I have so many other ones on my list. Now, would I run a difficult marathon in elevation? Yes, I'll do another one in high elevation. I would love to, so that won't scare me.
Yeah.
Doing a difficult or doing another hilly or another difficult race. No, but that particular race, maybe not because I have others on the list that I want to do.
See, y'all, this is the life of a runner. Like, you got options. You don't have to do the same race over and over again. You can do a million other races across the country.
But was it fun enough for me to do again? Probably not. There's nothing extra that I feel like I miss versus Disney Marathon, right? Because every year I love the Disney Marathon
Mhm.
because it's always more of an adventure. Again, Disney's my slowest. Because I was like, you take a picture of the characters, you're getting on a roller coaster during the marathon. And so you're really having fun. So that's a race that I do trying to do every year. Just because it's so much fun. Um,
Wow, that's
but yeah, Mexico City.
well,
Other ones in Mexico, yes. Other ones in Mexico, maybe. Yeah.
okay, just not at necessarily at elevation right away. Cause it does feel different. Like even when you're not running, you do feel the elevation.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. That is. It took. I did a tour the day before, and I felt it then.
Right.
But more so too during the race, I was just kind of like, okay, okay, I can still move, but it's just a different type of move. Um, I didn't feel as strong as I normally feel running another marathon at all.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know, maybe preparing more for elevation, which I do want to do. Um, start doing more high elevation running. I think that's going to pay off. I think it always pays off to kind of run in higher elevations so that, when you're running a race at sea level, then you're like just moving because you're just used to running at higher elevations. So, but it was a lifelong lesson. I don't regret it. I would, at all. I loved it. I loved, just going through the emotions of just okay, stick through it, Jamila. You got it. It's in kilometers. So now I'm like, okay, 5K, that's 3 miles. Okay, 10K, So you go by kilometers. Okay, I'm at 30K now. That means I just got 12, So in my mind, it's just a mental, I kept going through things mentally, So, but it was good. It was a
Did,
good challenge.
did you have to stretch a lot in between, from 1 mile to the next just to keep from cramping up? Like, so for somebody that's watching to know, like, what it would, feel
Right,
like for them to do that first, what they have to kind of
right,
think about.
right. Gels. So there was a point where a girl runner, that's why I say the runners were so supportive. She gave me one of her gels. So, and it's always a trial and error thing, right? How often do I need to gel during a marathon? Okay, take another gel. And then hydration, right? So now running is always a learning experience for me. I live and I learn. I learn, okay, Jamila, maybe you should have brought your own water because, some of the water stops weren't there. So, you plan on, they tell you, okay, every, 2.5 miles to 3 miles, there's going to be water or hydration. But I have to plan for things not going there. So I have to plan for, what if they don't have hydration there? What if they don't have, certain things there? And then having enough gels for me. I think gels are a big thing too. And the right kind of gels. Because I know my stomach can't tolerate some of the gels that I take. So I've learned what works for me and how often do I need to do it. Right. So if it's every 4 miles, if it's every 3 miles, and it changes if I'm going for a PR or not. Mexico was not a PR race. So then I know that, okay, my gels, I need to take gels, so often so that you can just get the energy, especially when it's hot.
Yeah,
Right. And I sweat a lot. So knowing that I know I need to take more, pills, whether it be my soft tablets, you know, um, or drink more water or take more gels. But it's all a learning lesson.
it is. It is. And would you tell anybody that's watching this, do you have to be a superstar to be able to complete any of these distances? Is it possible
No.
just to be able to complete them?
Oh yeah. I mean, it all depends on what your goals are, right? Um, you can put I think, for sure practically anybody can do a half. Even a marathon, I think it's more mental than anything. But I think people are capable of running a marathon. It's just if your mind is there, right? Because I think it becomes more mental than physical.
Hmm.
So if you got you in your mind, hey, listen, I'm gonna be out here for, however long it takes you. Because I think sometimes, you see some of the quote unquote maybe slow runners where it takes them maybe 7 hours to do a marathon. That's to me is impressive. Many times because it's like, man, you're out there for 7 hours, and you're out there for a long time. To where sometimes it's just, wow, just getting your mind wrapped around that, hey, listen, I'm gonna be out here for the next 4 to 5, 6, wherever hours, you know. So it becomes mental. It becomes mental. I think more mental than physical.
Okay. And what advice would you give to someone that may need that accountability group? They may be looking to
Mm,
join somewhere,
yeah.
preferably BGR and
Yes.
BMR, but joining a group and why it will, how it could benefit them, knowing
Yeah.
like, hey, it's not about
Yeah.
competing against each other. We do live in a
Yes.
competitive world, and
We
depending on
do.
how
We
you
do.
grow up,
We do.
what schools you go to, what colleges you go to, what
We
what
do.
professional teams, picks you up. But at some point, it's really, what's the point of competing, all your life, So, for
Right.
me, so what would you say to that person that just looking to start somewhere. What would be the best
Yes.
way to start?
Well, it's all about embracing your journey, right? Because we all have different goals, believe it or not. And so just finding a group, preferably BGR, that no matter what your goal is, they're supportive of you and you can kind of fit your way in because we all have different. I think all of us in BGR have different goals, whether it be for time, whether it be training for Ironman, whatever it is, So just kind of figuring out how your goals can how the group can help you achieve your goals. So if it's like, okay, I'm training for this, you got members who are willing to run early in the morning with you. You got members who are willing to run Saturday or run on a Saturday, Sunday with you. You got members who are willing to run at night with you. You can't meet in the mornings, maybe at night. So just utilizing groups, again, preferably like BGR, but it doesn't always have to be BGR, because there's so many, even in Colombia, there are many different running groups, but just finding a group that help you utilize your goals, right? Because if you want to get faster, then running with, faster group. If you want to, you got ultra marathon people out there.
Hmm.
Those long miles, so just find your way and find your way with people who can help you reach your goals. It's my thing, no matter what they are,
That
because
makes
you'll
sense.
find very supportive people who are gonna stick by with you and help you the best way they can to reach your goals.
And us runners, we're crazy. And when I say we're crazy, I mean we're out there like,
We're
oh,
crazy.
I just
We're
saw you
crazy
last week.
in so
Oh,
many
okay, I guess
different.
I'll see you 2 weeks from now.
So many different, you got so many different people who different experiences, who you can kind of help, you can kind of reach off on, and it's so inspiring, very very inspiring group of people who just, we're all different, and I think that's the beauty of it all. And don't be intimidated. I think people get intimidated by run groups. I've been in run groups to where it's fast. Everybody's moving fast, yeah. So, but that's good too. That's good too. I think that training comes into play too. So, hey, listen, I'm going to run today with this run group, and it's going to be a fast run, because you already know. But many times, you can find a group of people that support you no matter what you do. Run, you walk, you move. That's what it's all about, to be honest. Yeah. So many people get intimidated, but no need to be intimidated, especially with BGR, groups like BGR.
Absolutely. And what's next for you? What's next? What's coming up next for you, Jamila?
A lot, man, a lot. Just trying to go to, I love my Disney, I will say. So I got some Disney things coming up.
Okay.
Because I get to dress up and have some fun. So that's another different part of running that I like to do. Um, Throw out the watch completely and
Hmm.
just kind of have fun. I got some big goals. Just to kind of just continue to have fun and just becoming a stronger, uh, more resilient runner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. And give me your last name again.
Williams.
Williams. Okay, great. Yeah, so hey, Jamila Williams, I appreciate you being on here. We don't know who would have needed this, because I think, what I learned the most about running is, I could run all the time, but then afterwards I'm like ask myself, am I okay?
Yes.
Am I doing well? Am I mentally making sure, I'm well, mentally,
Yeah.
'cause mental health
Yeah.
is like a big,
It's
big
a
thing for
big
me.
thing. It's a
And
big thing.
so I found
It's a big
myself
thing.
having being in a better mental state when I'm physically active doing something. And
Yes.
it may be a
Yes.
walk, it may be a jog, it may
Yes.
be a race I sign up for, it may be a distance
Yes.
race, it may be a short race, it may be a day I want to go to the gym, it may be a
Yes.
day I just want to just rest and then prepare for the next day I want to run. With the group
Yes.
that I'm with. Black Men Run.
Yes.
But I'm more definitely active. I'm more of a what do you call it? I'm definitely big support of the Black community doing
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Because we gotta be
Yes.
there for each other. We gotta
Yes.
support each other.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yes.
things are a lot harder for us, right? At
Yes.
times. So
Yes.
but for the family, make sure the family's good. Make sure your friends good. Make sure
Yes.
when we go to work, we're on our best behavior if possible.
Yes.
And so, but more importantly, just learn how to have fun because I believe God
Yes.
created us to be able to have fun with our bodies, and
Yes.
these are and they're a temple, and we're supposed to manage them because this is the only body we're gonna get, and
Exactly. Exactly.
unfortunately, we have surgeries, we have sicknesses, we have people who
Yes.
you've been in the military, people who lost legs, people who lost
Yes.
their sight,
Yes.
and the body
Yes.
itself is more valuable than we think. You know,
Yes. Oh
you
man.
know.
And then things could change at the drop of a dime.
Yes.
So that's why I say I don't have bad races, right? So I'm like, man, that didn't run that as hard as I should have. My time sucks. But I was like, I'm so grateful. That's what I said when I finished. The guy's like, man, that tore me up. I said, you know what? But I'm so grateful to be able to do this.
Mm.
It's a blessing. I've seen runners out there, I think they had a person run in crutches. Right. I was like, wow, they're gonna run the whole marathon in crutches. Then you see I've run marathons with people with, missing legs who've gotten, hurt overseas and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I'm like, wow, if they can do it and they're cheering you on, you got this. What? Oh my God. And people who breast cancer survivors, other survivors. You hear so many stories of resilient runners that I just after every, run, especially a difficult one, I'm like, man, I just did this. And I'm grateful. You learn not to complain about certain things.
Mm.
Not every day is going to go well, according to what you think, but just being grateful.
That is, man. That's some preaching right there. So, hey, for everybody that's watching, I appreciate you joining me. Please share this with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, your peers, closest neighbors. We just, we want to continue to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with the best people possible. And
Yes,
if we need
yes,
encouragement, maybe we need to join a run group. Maybe we need to
yeah. Oh,
join a
yes,
wall group.
yes,
Don't think that don't be too shy to wonder what groups are available. I actually posted on my page this morning run groups that I have run within the last 2 weeks.
I
And I
like
won't
that.
necessarily, try to make them every week, but if there are other run groups out there, I kind of want the people to be
Yes,
aware of where they can join
yes,
and pretty much
yeah.
where they can mingle and fellowship with people, if they're just getting started. So I appreciate
Yes.
your time, and you
Thank
have
you.
shared
This
a
is
lot of
awesome. Thank you.
you shared a lot of valuable information. I'm sure Zoe is not happy with me because I took up an hour of your time.
Yeah, Zoe, I don't know where she's at right now, but yeah, she wasn't too happy earlier, but she'll be all right.
Right. Well, I'm very proud of you, Jamila. I really am.
You
That's
so much. Thank you. I like this. And best wishes to you and your running journey as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Yes.
definitely.
And I'm
Yes.
sure I'm sure we'll be around each other for the unity
Ye-
runs
Yes, yes,
and
yes,
and
yes,
and just continue to just do the best that we can and just run our
yes.
race. I always tell people just
There you
run your
go.
race.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what I have on my thing. It says, "This is your race." I have my bracelet that I
Wow.
always wear. This is your race. And it's just, I like running with it to remind me this is my journey.
Wow. I'm so
This is
glad you
my journey.
shared that right there.
Yeah, I
Man,
love it. Somebody gave it to me at a race. Yeah, I was running, I think it was a Disney race or something, and somebody just, they pass out bracelets many times. And this is just one that really has stuck with me. It says, "This is your race." And I like that.
that's crazy. Well, hey, everybody, don't ever forget about the background and to the next episode, make sure you continue to share and get people out and active and doing the best they can do with their bodies. So, Jamila, I appreciate you and you have
Thank
a good night, okay?
you. All right, you too. You take care.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye.